Hello there. Welcome to Storytime with Tim. So it looks like we're now on episode 13 of Imperium, which means we have completed one whole year's worth of content. So I'd like to take this opportunity to say a massive thank you to LSX Optimus, who has been my one Patreon supporter through the whole of that journey. So now let's do a quick recap of what has happened so far in the Imperium series, and let's see who's actually winning overall between the Necrons and the Space Marines.
Necron victory. Space Marine victory. Necron victory. Space Marine victory. Space Marine victory. Necron victory. Space Marine victory. Necron victory. Space Marine victory. Necron victory. Necron victory. Necron victory.
So 7-5 to the Necrons there. So now let's find out what's happening in this episode. So in Imperium issue 13, our playthrough is Battle for the Orb. So now on Imperium, deep within the Overlord's personal armory, the Space Marine Captain and his forces have located the Overlord's Resurrection Orb and intend to destroy it. So let's catch up with the action. So let's kick off the 2023 Imperium series with Space Marines Term 1. And the Intercessors of Squad Lucullus and Ferio Ulthar, the Primaris Captain at the back there, both have 6 inches of movement. So we'll begin by moving them closer towards the Necrons. So the Intercessors will move towards the Skorpekh destroyers. And Ferio will move towards the Scarabs. So now we're on to the shooting, and in this issue we're being introduced to 2 different profiles for the plasma pistol. So we have the standard or the supercharged. The supercharged would have a strength 8 instead of the strength of 7, but if any unmodified hit rolls of a 1 are made, then the bearer is destroyed after shooting this weapon. Let's just risk it and go for that anyway. And he's looking for a 2+ to hit. Getting a 4, so successful hit. And then looking for a 2+ to wound. Again getting a 4, so he's making that wound successfully. And that has an AP of -3, which means that the Scarabs cannot make a save roll, so we'll be taking 2 wounds for that as it was supercharged. And we'll give it to that one at the back there. So now let's see what the Intercessors can do, and we will start with Sergeant Cosmin Lucullus, hence the name of the squad Lucullus, and he has a plasma pistol. So again, we'll use the supercharge for that, and he is looking for a 3+ to hit. Again getting the 4, lucky with the 4s today, and then looking for a 3+ to wound. Only getting a 2, so no wounds there. So now for the rest of the squad. So now we've got 4 Intercessors, each with a heavy bolt pistol, and they're hitting on a 3+. So 3 hits, and they're looking for a 5+ to wound. So no wounds. Intercessors not doing well on their shooting so far. So now let's move on to the charge phase. And I will start with Ferio, who is 4 inches away. So looking for at least a 4 to charge. Easily making that. Let's move him into contact with those 2. And then the Intercessors are only 3 inches away. Again, easily making that. Let's get them in. So now we're into the first fight phase of 2023, and it's going to be Ferio against the Canoptek Scarabs. And with his mastercrafted power sword, he has 5 attacks, looking for a 2+ to hit. So all 5 hit, and looking for a 3+ to wound. So 3 wounds with an AP of -3, So again, the Scarabs can't make the save rolls, and each of those wounds is doing 2 damage, and the Scarabs have 4 wounds, which means that this one that's already on 2 wounds is gone, along with this one here. And then all that's left to do is consolidate, so we just move Ferio to the other Scarab swarm there, and that is the end of his attack. So now let's see what the Intercessors can do. And with their Astartes chainswords, Sergeant Lucullus has 3 attacks, and the rest of them have 2 each. So I use blue dice for Sergeant Lucullus, and the red dice will be for the other Intercessors. So they are all hitting on a 3+. So what's that? 1 hit for Lucullus, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 hits for the rest of them. And they're looking for a 5+ to wound. So only 2 wounds. I just realised I didn't even do a save roll for that. So 2 wounds, let's do the saves. They've got AP of -1. So Skorpekh Destroyer will need a 4+ to save. Not making a save, so getting the wounds anyway. So now the Necrons get a chance to attack back. So let's go back over here and see if the Scarab can do anything to Ferio. So the Scarabs with their feeder mandibles have 4 attacks, looking for a 4+ to hit. No hits, so not doing anything to Ferio this time. What can the Skorpekh Destroyers do? So we'll start with these 2 here with their Hyperphase Threshers, and each of those has 3 attacks. Looking for a 3+ to hit. So 5 hits. And looking for a 3+ to wound. So 4 wounds. And they have an AP of -3, so we're going to be needing 6s to save. So no saves, 4 wounds going through them. And the Intercessors have 2 wounds each, so we just remove these 2 here. And now we'll see what this one's Hyperphase Replay can do. So again, 3 attacks looking for a 3+ to hit. 2 hits. And we're looking for a 3+ to wound. So 1 wound. And that has an AP of -4, so we won't be able to make the save rolls, so that wound is going straight through. And as Sergeant Lucullus is the closest one there, he'll be taking the wound. And that is the end of Space Marines turn 1, onto Necrons turn 1. And we'll begin by moving the Scarab, which is going to fall back 10 inches. In an attempt to get towards the objective over here. And as for the Skorpekh Destroyers, these 2 are already within engagement range, so I'll just move this one here, keeping him outside of engagement range. And also, as it's the start of the Necron's turn, with the Living Metal ability, he's going to be regaining 1 wound, so now he's down to 1 wound, meaning he has 2 remaining. And the Necrons don't have any ballistic weapons, so we'll be skipping the shooting phase and going straight into the charge, for which there's only 1. And he's only an inch away, so I won't even bother rolling. He's just going to move straight in. So now let's jump straight into the fight. And again, we're going to start with the 2 of the Hyperphase Threshers. So 3 attacks each, looking for a 3+ to hit. So 5 hits. And looking for a 3+ to wound. So 4 wounds. Each with an AP of -3, so the Intercessor's looking for 6s to save. Making 1 save, and 3 wounds are going through. So we'll remove 1 Intercessor, and the other one will be taking 1 wound. And then this one will consolidate, so move around to here. So now let's see what the Hyperphase Replay can do. With its 3 attacks looking for a 3+ to hit. All 3 hit. And looking for a 3+ to wound. So 2 wounds, and with its AP of -4, the Intercessors are unable to make save rolls. Right, so 2 wounds are going through. So Sergeant Lucullus is definitely out, as he only had 1 wound remaining. But now I'm not sure if whether the other wound would be given to this intercessor, or whether because he's not within engagement range that it wouldn't. So I'm going to play that it wouldn't, and that the excess damage would just be lost. But please leave a comment if I was meant to give the other wound to him. Let's get back to it. So that's the end of the Necrons fight. So now we're going to allow the Intercessor to fight back. And he gets 2 attacks with his Astartes Chainsword. Looking for a 3+ to hit. 1 hit. And looking for a 5+ to wound. Getting a 6, 1 wound. And that has an AP of -1. So the Skorpekh Destroyer is looking for a 4+ to save. Only getting a 1, so it's going to be taking a wound. And I'll give it to the one that already has a wound. Meaning that he has now only got 1 wound remaining. So that'll be the end of Necron's turn 1. Onto Space Marine's turn 2. And let's begin the movement phase with Ferio Ulthar, going to be chasing down the Scarab. So let's move him 6 inches towards him. And then I'm just going to leave the Intercessor here, as he's nice and in the mix and stopping the Skorpekh Destroyers going for the objective. So now onto the shooting, and as this Intercessor is already in engagement range, he won't be able to make a shot. So that just leaves Ferio. And again, we're going to be using the supercharge on his plasma pistol. And we're looking for a 2+ to hit. Getting a 4. And then looking for a 2+ to wound. Getting the wound. And with its AP of -3, the Scarab isn't going to be able to make the save roll. So he'll be taking the wound, which is doing 2 damage. And now we can charge in with Ferio, who is only 2 inches away, so the charge roll is going to be successful anyway, so we're just moving straight in. And now we can move on to the fight phase. And Ferio with his mastercrafted power sword has 5 attacks, looking for a 2+ to hit. So all 5 successful. And looking for a 3+ to wound. So 4 wounds. And again they have an AP of -3, so the Scarab's unable to make the saves, so they'll be destroyed. Which means the Space Marines have 1 less opponent to worry about getting to the objective. So now we can see if the remaining Intercessor can do anything to help prevent the Skorpekh Destroyers from making it to the objective. And that Intercessor has been named Erasmus Elver. So let's see if Erasmus can actually defeat a Skorpekh Destroyer here. And he has 2 attacks with his Astartes Chainsword, looking for a 3+ to hit. So 1 hit. And we're looking for a 5+ to wound. Getting the 5, so successful wound there. Erasmus manages to remove 1 Skorpekh Destroyer from the board, which levels up the playing field, but I don't think it's going to stay that way for long, because now the Necrons have a chance to attack back. So we'll start with this one here with his Hyperphase Thrashers, and his 3 attacks looking for a 3+ to hit. So all 3 hit. And looking for a 3+ to wound. So all 3 wounds, and they have an AP of -3. So Erasmus is going to be looking for 6s to save. Oh, he makes 2 saves, but 1 wound is going through, and he only had 1 wound remaining, so he's out of the game. So that leaves us with a 2-on-1 situation, and that is the end of Space Marine's turn 2, onto Necron's turn 2. And they will start by moving 8 inches towards Ferio. And again, since they have no ballistic weapons, we'll just go straight onto the charge phase. And this one here is just under 2 inches away from Ferio, so the charge rolls would automatically make it. So let's just move him in. And the other one is roughly 4 inches away, so let's roll for that. Oh, look at that. I managed to get the dice perfectly in the centre of the ring light there, so you can just about see them. So that is a successful charge roll. So let's move him in as well. And we'll jump straight into the fight phase. And we'll continue as we have been by starting with the Skorpekh Destroyer with the Hyperphase Threshers, who with his 3 attacks is looking for a 3+ to hit. So all 3 hit. And looking for a 3+ to wound. So 1 wound. With an AP of -3. So Ferio is looking for 6 to save. Which he gets. So unsuccessful wound there. So now on to the one with the Hyperphase Reap Blade, which also has 3 attacks and is needing 3+ to hit. So 2 hits. And looking for 3+ to wound. So 2 wounds, but that has an AP of -4, so Ferio is unable to make the saves. So he'll be taking those 2 wounds. And the Hyperphase Reap Blade does 3 damage, so that will be made up to 6. And Ferio has 6 wounds, so Skorpekh Destroyer is wiping him out there. Which can only mean that we have a Necron victory. So the Necrons have managed to slaughter the impertinent Space Marine invaders and will move on to secure their Master's Resurrection Orb. So now let's find out which lucky patron is going to become the owner of Squad Lucullus. And for that I'm going to use my Orc coin. So we have the Orc face, which is going to be for LSX Optimus, and the Warhammer side is going to be for Eldarion. And that is the Orc side, so congratulations LSX Optimus, these are going to be yours, further add into your collection. And the February giveaway is going to be for these flayed ones, so if you would like to be in with a chance of becoming the owner of those, then check out my Patreon. I'll leave a link in the description down below. Thanks for watching, like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.